Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Ryan with Gamertag Dad, and today we are cosplaying as the Omen Killer. The build itself includes the full Omen Killer armor set and the Great Omen Killer Cleaver plus 25. We are using the Braggats Ash of War and we are dual wielding these. We are using the aspects of the Crucible Breath, which pairs nicely with the Raw Medallion. The talismans we are using are the Raw Medallion, Axe Talisman, Claw Talisman and the Dragoncrest GreatShield. If you are new around here and enjoy Elden Ring content, then please go ahead and hit that subscription button down below. Braggats Raw grants us 10% physical damage boost and a 10% damage negation, which pairs amazingly well with Flame Grant Me Strength for an additional 20% physical damage and Golden Vow for another 15% damage plus an additional 10% damage on our damage negation. Braggats Raw is also affected by the Raw Medallion and the Axe Talisman. All in all, damage output on this is ridiculous. You can see from the clips it makes light work of Margit. The armor we use isn't the best for damage negation, however the buffs and the talismans increase our tankiness, which makes this so much fun to use. You can be super aggressive and you get a fair amount of damage negation out of this. We do use this in PvP. Just on a side note, Braggats Raw does stack with Flame Grant Me Strength and Golden Vow because Braggats Raw is actually technically a weapon buff, not a body buff. The build is focused around strength and vigour. The stats will be shown towards the end of the video, and I actually have zero bad things to say about this build. I was skeptical at first about it, thinking it might be a bit squishy, but wow, it has a high damage output and great survivability. The build itself is fantastic, and if you're like me, you're not that good, or if you're brand new at the game, then it's a great build to try. You do need to remember to use your jump attacks to proc your Claw Talisman. Do not use the Shard of Alexander, it has zero effect on this build as Braggats Raw doesn't work with it, so it's essentially void. Right, we are throwing in some PvP soon. The first round was just me sussing out the gameplay, and overall the PvP aspect of this build is very nice. You have a high amount of damage, and you can use your Flame Breath. However, with the changes to poise damage, you're not really going to get the poise that you need with this build, especially if you're cosplaying. So it kind of void when it comes to playing in PvP with the breath. However, if you're using this within PvP here that you'll see with Godric, I do go and burn him a little bit. It's nothing outstanding. You could buff it with the Flame Scorpion Charm. You could then put the Flame Shroud and Cracked Tear in your physic. These two are ways of buffing that. Plus you've got Flame Grant Me Strength that gives it a little bit of a kick. But it all depends on what you want to focus on. This is primarily focused around doing as much damage as we physically can from those massive cleavers. Now we're throwing in the Bloodhound's Fang, which is the weapon I really like. I think it's just got a bit of a nerf actually in patch 1.10. But I just wanted to show you what the breath is like on a boss and actually just how hard this weapon's actually hit. If you can land a jump attack or even a charge attack, because we have the options here, we've got to remember. It's completely versatile because we have the Claw and Axe Talisman, which allows us to have huge damage potential and huge different styles to our gameplays. You have the ability to jump, slash, we have the ability to hit L1 to do kind of a double weapon attack if you like. We have the ability to charge our attacks. With the breath, you can charge that and it will drain your whole entire FP bar. Or you can just tap it and you'll do a bit of damage and chase them around. You will see in this fight, there's a lot of jockeying around. But we get in the end, we suss him out and we work out what we're supposed to be doing. I would recommend this build in PvP. If it comes to invasions or even just some Colosseum work, you have all that damage negation. Yes, you need to remember when it comes to PvP, that you are at a disadvantage when it comes to certain stats, like Flame Grant Me Strength gives you less within PvP, and so does Golden Vow, and your Dragoncrest GreatShield gives you reduction in defense. You've got to remember that's relative, it's the same for everyone, but you do have those slight nerfs, otherwise people would be unkillable when it comes to PvP. So depending on your PvP style, your gameplay and how you particularly play, you could go ahead and make subtle changes to your talismans, which will make a whole world of difference. If you are planning on just spamming the breath, then there is the ability to throw on lack of, not removing so much FP when you're hitting them. So you can go ahead and do the march for a bit longer. And if you are going to do that, you would then go ahead and actually throw in more mind as well. So you could just use it for a bit longer. But if they have anything that can stance break you or even just hit you, you're probably going to lose all your poise. So yeah, it's not really worth it in my opinion. Now, you can see with this weapon, if you get the boink on the head, you are hitting them for a lot. If you get the jump attack, you're hitting them for 1,000 if you're fully buffed. If you're hitting them with a charge attack, they're probably going to get knocked and you're going to get the damage in. If they have a charge up Ash of War, you have the advantage. And like I said, with the damage negations that we have set up here with our buffs, our raw, and our talismans that we have, we're a walking tank. Now, you do see me die once or twice in this, but it's not a lot. Nobody wants to get in the range of these two weapons. Bear in mind, they don't look the biggest, but they have a hell of a range on them. You can get so much damage done, you can get up in people's business, and you can smack them about. For me, personally, this is probably in my top 2 builds that I've tried, not for the cosplay function, just because of how well it functions across PvE and PvP. Look how quickly I devastated Margit. We got a stance break on him, and look how quickly I devastated Godric. I did mess part of the fight up. Actually, we almost wrecked him in the first time we tried that, but I messed it up a little bit and it looked awful rolling that clip. You could, if you wanted to, parry some people with this if you went ahead and put the shield on, but it's not the cosplay of how the build would be when you actually come and face this boss head to head. He doesn't parry you, he's more about burning your ass and pushing you down into a hole and just smacking you on the head. This boss I wanted to cosplay because actually, for me, it was one of the harder bosses in the game, which sounds ridiculous, but when I come up against it in Lunaria of the Lakes for the first time, I struggled. He killed me, I don't know, 15, 20 times, and I thought, let's pay homage to him. Let's try his build, because we can get basically all the armor, we can get weapons, and we can get the flame breath, which kind of gives you the aspect of playing him. And he's so much fun. I would highly, highly, highly recommend it. But going back to the build itself, like I said, it's completely based around Vigour and Strength. Our Vigour is 60 and our Strength is 80. This allows us to hit really hard and it allows us to have a big health pool. What we also need to state is both these weapons are down as heavy because they scale better with Strength. If you want to use Dexterity, you could. You could use, I believe it's the Keen affinity, if you want to go ahead and be a bit more dexterous with it, but I prefer Strength. It's kind of the Unga Bunga approach that we do. We smack them on the head, we roll away, we smack them on the head, we roll away. And where we have the damage negation, we are a lot more tanky, so we can stand there and get hit. Look at Margit and even Godric. Godric picks you up, slams you into the ground and sets you on fire. Doesn't do that much damage to you. We have a high health pool and we have high damage negation. You will see here I do go ahead and throw down the flame breath, get quite an amount of damage put into him, what, quarter of his health, which is pretty good, and I do get killed pretty spectacularly. I ran out of health potions, I couldn't get healed after killing him. I was one shot away from dying. But going back to it, with the buffs, we get that massive damage negation. I believe we're at like 30 to 40% damage negation just through our buffs and our talismans. Then when it comes to Braggats Raw, it's buffed again with the Raw Medallion, and it's also buffed with the Axe Talisman because the ones are charging, you can charge it, and with the incantation we're using, it's a chargeable incantation, so that all works there. So the setup we're using is the Omen Killer's weapons, 2 of them. We have the whole Omen Killer's armor set with the Axe Talisman, the Raw Medallion, Claw Talisman, and the Dragoncrest GreatShield. And in our Flask, we are actually using the Faith Not Crystal tier because it allows us 10 extra faith. We need to have 27 faith in order to use the incantation. I didn't really want to waste 10 points of my strength to put them in there. We are also using the Stone Barbed Crystal tier or Crack tier there for a little bit of more stance breaking ability, which is, I find it's fantastic. There weren't, in my opinion, a huge amount of options here. We could have gone ahead and thrown down a defensive one or the ability to heal, but that's counterproductive because we need that faith boost, because 2 of our incantations are completely nullified if we don't use that flask before the start of the fight. So you want to use stuff that pairs nicely with it. We have the ability to up our strength, up our dexterity if we wanted to. We could increase our health pool, we could increase our defense. If you're a bit kamikaze, which is kind of how the boss fights, you could put the explosion tier in here and that would be perfect. The stats are on the right there, but we have explained our 2 predominantly big stat pools. We are level 150. But if you have enjoyed that, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I'll see you all again in the next video. Bye.